And we are back with another episode of the Hockey Princess podcast. I am your host, the Hockey Princess. We have Chris, the old guy, once again. Folks, just as a reminder, make sure to hit that like and subscribe on either Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, YouTube, however you watch or listen to us ramble on a weekly basis. Look, Krusty's in a mood, guys. We are basically in off-season mode.
Yes,
But
I'm in a
first,
mood.
you are in a mood because we got the final game tonight. First things first, we got some NHL stuff. Before we get into the postseason, there's some news, some speculation. We did have one retirement announcement. Jonathan Quick has played his last game in the NHL. Absolute legend in net. Um, Kind of figured that it was be this year or maybe one more year. I know our friends at Double Defense speculated that this may be it the last time that we had them on for the Monday preview, but it has been announced. I would like to say shout out to the Florida Panthers for staying out after the final game that Quick was in net for and did a handshake line. Quick wasn't expecting it. He had one of his teammates had to like go into the locker room to go get him because all the Panthers guys were out. So shout out to the Florida Panthers for paying the respect to Jonathan Quick after his final game. But he has announced his retirement.
Yeah, that's one heck of a career.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's a long, long time. A lot of Olympic work, 2 Stanley Cups. He was the premier goaltender in the league for a little while. That's for sure,
Yeah.
and definitely won them their first cup. So,
Absolutely. And I feel like, we say all the time that goaltenders are weird, but I feel like there's no real in between. Like either goaltenders are like Quick or Bob or some of the other ones where you truly do play for forever, or kind of the peak is shorter.
yeah, for most of it just takes them so long to get going. There's so much brain stuff of knowing exactly where you're supposed to be at all times. And
Mhm.
then once you figure all of that out, now you've got to understand how to play the game as far as playing the puck, when to eat the puck, when not to. So it's a real hard position. And yeah, a lot of players now, they can go for a long, long time. But it does take them a while to start out. So again, a phenomenal career by
Phenomenal
Quick.
guy, phenomenal career.
And I would assume maybe a first ballot Hall of Famer. That might be stretching it a little bit, but
Think
he'll
that
be
there's
in the Hall of
two
Fame.
Hall of Fame ballots from that Los Angeles Kings team that go in together, at least in terms of being on the ballot together.
Yeah, yeah, but a first-time ballot guy is not always a slam dunk. So I'm unsure if he'll be a first, but he'll be in.
Did you use the on purpose slam dunk?
Well, I always got it going on.
That is true. Speaking of, the other guy who potentially could be a Hall of Fame first ballot, we had, Kopitar's final home game for the regular season, because I think at the point of that game, it wasn't locked in if the Kings were going to the playoffs, so it could have potentially been the final home game. Now the Kings have squeaked into the postseason, which is great. Uh, but we're coming down to the last handful of games with Kopitar and the Kings, which just, all of these are just, it's weird. I knew that the time would come at a point, but it's weird that it's all coming now.
Yeah, it is. As we say in the show, Father Time catches up with everyone, and Father Time is undefeated. Kopitar, for those who didn't follow, Kopitar was Barkowski, or Barkov before Barkov was Barkov. Same type of player. just a big centerman, hard to get off the puck, very good defensively, did it all 200 feet all the time. Not a flashy, complete superstar, but one tick below, but made up for on everything else he did during a game. Mm-hmm. So that is a definite first ballot Hall of Famer. There's no doubt about that. Again, you've got the cups, you've got everything else, an anchor for that team for many, many years. And anybody who followed the Blackhawks had no choice but to follow the Kings. So,
yeah, that is true. That is true. But
I wouldn't lie to you.
Yeah, you wouldn't. But they have squeaked into the postseason, so we do get a couple more of Kopi games. Another guy, yeah.
Go on, you go.
No, you go.
Well, let's hope the Ducks don't lose their last game and the Kings win their last game, because then we're, with the Kings coming in, I don't want to see another Kings Edmonton. I'd like anything but that for the Kings.
No, we're going to get that matchup, and this is the year that Los Angeles gets it.
That's not going to happen. So, I'd like to see it. I'd like to see them play someone else. Go on, Hockey Princess.
Yeah, but now they're set to play Colorado, and I don't know if I like that either.
Well, right, but odds are good they walk out anyways. But I don't think anybody wants to see the fifth time in a row the same two teams. And again, even if you lose 4 in a row to Colorado, it's going to be better than getting up 2-0 on Edmonton only to be stomped on the next 4 games. So.
True that. Another guy who it hasn't been confirmed, but there's a lot of cameras in a lot of locker rooms. There's been a lot of celebration, especially this past weekend, with having Washington versus Pittsburgh. And there's been some heightened emotions, but nothing is confirmed about the Alexander Ovechkin.
Yeah, I was going to make sure that we talked about this one.
Yeah.
They the Sid Ovi was their 100th meeting in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh did everything up very right. It was a spectacle and a sign of respect for guys that might not have respected each other at the beginning of their careers. But make no mistake about it.
They respected each other.
At the end, they definitely respected each other. It's a long, long grind. But for people new to the game, new to being fans in the last 15 years, the magnitude of what those two did is unbelievable for the fact that they were coming out of the 2004 lockout, and they are basically stated as the players that saved hockey, and it's not too far off. You had no hockey for a year. You had disgruntled hockey fans, and, as you know in hockey, you have your core base, and unless your team's really good, you have more. But that core base, having hockey taken away for a year, was pretty pissed off. And the game seemed to be old and just not entertaining. And the two of them put hockey right back on the map with their rivalry.
Absolutely.
Agreed, some people will state, it was shoved down people's throats. Yes, for a little while it was, but the beginning of it was unbelievable. And they're a big part of why the sport is what it is right now. And I think with Ovi getting his cup, the mutual respect is just massive now. So I thought Pittsburgh did everything great. If this is it for Ovi, far be it. He's played decent this season. I guess the question for him is, how do you want to walk away? Do you want to walk away having, your season go to a point where you're like, I can't do this anymore? Or would you like to walk away with people still in the back of their minds, well, he might have been able to do one more year. I think
Well,
he's at that right now.
well, and it's been confirmed not just from our Washington Capitals insider, but other news outlets throughout the year that, or not even throughout this year, that Ovi has come out and stated like when he finishes in the NHL, he wants to go back to Russia and play in the KHL for at least a year or two. So when he leaves the NHL, he's not going to be at a point where it's like my hips don't work, my knees don't, like my body doesn't work. He will leave before then based on what he has said. If that is all still the case of what he wants to do, then it's not going to be a point of I'm leaving the NHL because I physically can't skate anymore. He'll leave before then if he still wants to go back to the KHL.
Most definitely. And when I was saying is it wasn't the physical aspect, I still think he's got probably 5 more years of playing on his body. He is the
Because
Russian
Russian machine never breaks.
But it's going to be a decision of what you want to be able to do in an NHL game. And there's been players that have, waited until they completely could not play a good NHL game and the game told them you're done. And I don't have a problem with anybody doing that. We can point out Chris Chelios, who played well past into his 40s. And if I would ever think about it, that's probably me. I would never want to give that up.
Yeah.
Somebody would have to come rip it off and say, you suck, rip it off. And there's other people that have walked away where you still thought, oh, they probably could have done another 2 years. And, it's up to them. It's up to what their family wants, many things. So I don't think Ovi will be walking away saying, I can't move. It's just, will he be effective in an NHL game? And is that something he wants? Tough decision for him for this year.
Very, very tough decision. And I also wonder with the Washington Capitals consistently get like a new kid for every game. Like they've just got a younger core that, this is the time where they're starting to come up. You had Ryan Leonard first. You have Sordiff, who came with free agency that was incredible for them, that is still on the younger side. You've got Cole Hudson. You've got now the pro Ty, one of my favorite prospects that to watch, which was Ilya Protas coming up. So the question is like, do you kind of want to be here a little bit longer to see more of this the next wave of kids come in and make a name for themselves and kind of take over? Or do you want to, or is this the time to pass the torch?
Yeah, that's also an angle. I think more than that is that team able to make a run next year? I don't think it's as much as you want to stick around and watch them rise again, as much as do you want to play playoff hockey next year?
Well, they're only got eliminated by one game.
Correct.
They were out because of one game. And I will die on the hill that if Chris Patrick brought up Ilya Protas earlier than he did, they'd probably be in playoff contention. But that's my guy. Big fan of the younger Protas kid.
Yeah, but again, there's no guarantee that even with the young talent they have, that they turn around and make the playoffs next year. So, again, a very tough decision. I'm sure he's going to take a little while to think about it. None of us know. No, he hasn't given any little peeks.
No one knows anything.
But there was a lot of good moments between him and Sid. And what he's done for the game has been incredible.
Absolutely.
Simply incredible.
Christy, do you have anything else before we jump into playoff matchups?
So I think that was the main thing I wanted to talk about. So,
all right, so guys, we've got playoff hockey. Yay. These matchups, I believe, are pretty much set in stone. Everybody basically has one game left at the time of recording. So these may change. It may alter who has home ice advantage, this might change. It probably will not.
Yeah, I think the only changes that be will be that one LA. And LA could go from wild card to
Just
Pacific
great.
3. That's the only place where we've got our unsure stuff. And let's see. And yeah, that's basically it. It's just if LA goes a game past Anaheim, and I guess there is one more. There's
Yeah.
the possibility if Edmonton wins, Vegas loses, Edmonton gets the top spot. So there's
So things are
the pillow division, as they call it, is the problem.
Yeah. So we're gonna run through our matchups. First off, and this one will be a little entertaining for our other insider that we have in Pennsylvania, because guys, we have the Battle of Pennsylvania. I am very excited about this one in particular. Not that I really have a side. I mean, I will be cheering for the Philadelphia Flyers for this matchup, but as someone who went to school in Pennsylvania, was very much surrounded by Pens fans, Flyers fans, guys, this rivalry, this matchup in playoff hockey, the Pittsburgh Penguins versus the Philadelphia Flyers. Oh, I'm so excited. It's going to be great. It's in my head, it's one of the American versions of the Battle of Ontario. It is very intense. Folks in Pennsylvania are even though hockey is not the number one sport in the state, Pittsburgh fans love their Pens. Philly fans will ride or die any of the Philly teams. So Pittsburgh Penguins versus the Philadelphia Flyers. I am so excited. Christy, are you excited?
I am very excited. And yeah, hockey people who are vested, bring a shit ton of energy. And they bring even extra energy to the huge rivalries. You can look at Blackhawks Vancouver. But this one is as big, probably bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is a hatred from fan base. I would assume by game 3 there will be a hatred by the teams. I kind of forgot all of this when I went to see the Flyer game. To give your fans a backstory, the Rieg, as we like to call her, or Dr. Rieg, went to the University of Pittsburgh, and one of their big things on their dance team was they did a thing to Sweet Caroline, where you go bump 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 bump, and then you go Pitt, go Pitt. So I always do that at every time I hear that at a sporting event.
Yeah.
Well, I also did it in Philly. And it wasn't until I finished it and enough people looked around and said, oh shit, I completely forgot about that there's the hatred between Pittsburgh and Philly. And most of the people I think from Philly are Penn State fans. So it is a real thing, and it is a nastiness that I can't wait to see play out just from the fan bases.
Yeah.
I mean, there's probably only one other one that'll be more entertaining from the fan bases.
Yes.
And we'll get to that in a little bit.
I'm very excited for this one. As I said, this is going to be great.
Are you still here?
I will be cheering on the Philadelphia Flyers for this match. Oh, yes. You froze, Krusty.
I'm sorry.
It will be a very exciting one. Not only do you have the history, I feel like, of this matchup of like Sidney Crosby just hating the Philadelphia Flyers, but also both of these teams have had recently high draft picks within the past couple of years. They've taken a little bit of a dip. So both of these teams also have just incredible injected youth onto their rosters as well, that I think is going to just escalate this matchup even more. Like, yes, you have Sid versus Philly, of course, but you also have like Benjamin Kendall versus Porter Martone, which is big fan of both of them. And it's going to be fantastic. Next matchup, Christy, we've got the Carolina Hurricanes versus the Ottawa Senators. The real question is will you die on the hill once again for the Ottawa Senators like you have in years past?
Who's Ottawa playing?
Rod.
Oh yeah, they don't. That is what it is. I don't think there's much you can do about that. Oh, there we are. Okay. Sorry about my technical difficulties. No, I like dying on the Ottawa Hill for getting into the playoffs. As far as now, can they catch fire? Sure. I don't think there's enough there.
No.
And I don't know if Sanderson will be back. I'm hearing he will be, correct?
I think so.
Yeah. Still, that's a Rod team in round one. That's a
Because Rod doesn't lose until round 3.
exactly. And also, I don't know. Brady Tkachuk saw a poltergeist or something, and he lost all feeling in his body. So we don't know what's going on with that either.
The ghost of poor decision making. Next matchup we've got, and I feel like this one should be pretty entertaining just because obviously both of these teams are incredibly talented, but also like you've got the scoring ability, but both of these teams also can be very feisty if they want to. And that is the Tampa Bay Lightning versus the Montreal Canadiens. I think this is going to be entertaining. I'm kind of excited to not just see the Battle of Florida again for the first round. Um, I don't know how this goes. I both can win.
Yes, both can win. As far as the Canadians, for me, you have to prove me wrong in taking Tampa Bay. And until then, I don't take you out of the first round. It's just that's a veteran, seasoned team that will be just about completely healthy, which they haven't been all year when the playoffs start. It's a tall ask. It's rough seeding for them to face a big Washington team last year, and you're going to go face a nasty team in Tampa Bay. I think they're more ready for it. No doubt about it. I couldn't pick that they have enough to go past them. But again, there is enough there. They're 3 deep in center. They have plenty of scoring. Their big concern right now is I'm hearing odds are good. Dobson doesn't start this series, and that could be the difference maker. You're talking, your number 2 defenseman who's going to be out. What a flick of bad luck. But no matter what, it will be entertaining.
It'll be very entertaining.
Because I know, at least from the Habs, they're not going to back down.
No, I don't see neither team's going to back down, and I think there's weaknesses to both teams, but I feel like neither team is incredibly lopsided one way or the other. So it should be very interesting. Next one, and one wagon I am going to jump on, we've been talking about hopping on this wagon for a minute, is the Buffalo Sabres back in playoffs. Guys, I can't remember the last time the Buffalo Sabres were in playoffs. It's been a minute. Buffalo Sabres versus the Boston Bruins. Sorry, Boston, but I'm riding the Sabres wagon.
Well, yeah, and we've joked about this for the past month, that unless your city is in the playoffs, the whole rest of the country, odds are good,
He's going to go for Buffalo.
we'll be rooting for the Sabres. They invaded the United Center pretty nicely Monday, and it got my dander up for a second, and then it had passed. Usually it would keep my anger. So good for their fan base. There is enough there. They have their question marks, and it starts in net. You've got a lot of people this is a new stage for them, but that's a very talented decor, and you are a solid 3 lines deep. A solid 3 lines deep.
And I think for them, with the exception of just getting absolutely swept by Boston, which I really don't foresee, I think whatever Buffalo does in the postseason is going to be great because it hasn't happened for so long. Like, even if it is a first round exit, even if it goes less than what people expected, not to say that it doesn't matter, but it hasn't happened for so long.
Yeah, and
Like, you're making a jump in itself from where you were last year to being as high as you are with playoff seeding too.
yeah. I think it'll be a little bit if you go out in a bad fashion in the first round. I think there's going to be residue from that because this team is good enough.
Yeah.
But, it's the big bad Bruins, and I'm really interested to see how the Sabres do with that. I am very interested to see Josh Doan play in the playoffs. I think, like in McTavish and everything, these games are built for him. Like your Kachucks, like your... It's just a workmanlike, a smart man's game, and they have enough big bodies. Tage Thompson doesn't play tough, but Alex Tuck can. And the Carrot Kid should be healthy. I have a feeling people won't be talking about it as much. They'll more just be slanting like we are, saying Buffalo's in. But this is going to get nasty.
Oh, yeah.
This one is going to get nasty.
I'm sorry, you have Sam Carrick versus Nikita Zadorov. It's going to get so entertaining.
Right, and you've got Tanner Jeannot there, who's played well and is there's asshats galore, and Boston likes to play that way, and Buffalo is not going to back down. They proved that against Tampa Bay earlier. They understand that it's all part of the next level, so that's going to be a good one.
I do have a question for you, Krusty, because there's been a player, speaking of the bad Bruins, that has kind of been up and down in terms of different systems. How are you going to feel if Lucas Reichel is playing playoff hockey?
I've always said great for him. He's a pick I did not want, but like all picks that I did not want, I still want them to succeed.
Yeah.
It would be nothing but entertaining if Lucas Reichel were all of a sudden take off in the playoffs. Just to hear Hockey Princess go, aha!
Yes.
So, and anybody who's been paying attention to this show should know that, Krusty's usually wrong. Not really.
All right, next matchup. We talked that it's, at the time of recording right now, it's Edmonton versus Anaheim. It could not be. It could be a variety of different things depending on how the last game goes. But for the sake of this episode, we'll run through if it stays the same in Edmonton versus Anaheim.
Okay. We could go through all scenarios, really. At the end of the day, if Draisaitl's back, it's a done deal. Edmonton's still very good. It'll be even worse against Anaheim. Yes, Hockey Princess.
You really think Tristan Jarry makes it past the first round?
I don't think Tristan Jarry sees the ice.
So you think it's Ingram's net to start?
I guarantee it's Ingram's net. Yes, it is Ingram's net.
That I have more confidence in.
Yes, I think that'll be their downfall further on. But especially against Anaheim, even being down 2 to them, I don't think they'll be worried. They can rattle off 3 goals against them in 5 minutes, and Tolstoy's a very good goaltender. But they're, as a group, unbelievably weak defensively.
They do have a pretty good penalty kill, Edmonton, I will say.
Yes, Edmonton has a very good penalty kill, and I do believe that Q will get them playing better defensively and smarter hockey in the playoffs, but I don't think by a lot.
Yeah.
That is just the way it is. It's part of the, learning curve. Again, it might get a little nasty. You have Gudis and Trouba on the back end. So Edmonton is going to get thumped.
Yes.
Because if those two players have taught you anything, is they could care less who you are.
They're just going to stick a knee out and take you out
And they
for a
could
bit.
care less what the score is.
Yeah.
If they have an opportunity to take somebody out for the series, they're going to. And you need to be aware of that. So it'll be a fun one. I just don't see how Edmonton loses to either them or the Kings. But that's me.
Next matchup, again, this could be a funky one because it could be Edmonton versus Utah, but right now it is Vegas versus Utah.
How do you bet against Torts? How do you?
Gladly, Utah in 6. I don't like. They have very poor luck against us, oddly enough. But I think top to bottom, and this may just be like gut instinct, but I have more confidence in that Utah roster. I think the hot with Vegas, at least one of the problems that I've seen is the highs are very, 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 very high. They have incredible talent. Absolutely. I'm not discounting Eichel and Marner and the talent that Vegas has. I just see a little bit more consistency out of Utah. And so, I don't know, something saying Vegas has been too wishy-washy. I think it's Utah.
Yeah, I'll take Vegas. I'll take the team that always is there and able to finish. I'll always take usually the experienced team. Yes.
But have they really finished all that much in the postseason?
They got a cup.
Yeah, but you look at last year, they didn't, was it the second round that they really didn't show up much?
Right. This is just the first round.
They didn't show up much in the first, well, no, Minnesota really didn't show up much.
Yeah, they have the ability to lock it down, and they've got two really good defensemen. Again, their situation is no different than Utah. Do you have confidence in any of the goaltenders that either team is trotting out? I don't. So I think when it's all said and done, just the experience and the star power is more for Vegas.
No way. Go Mormons. Let's go.
Tusks up.
Tusks
up. But, yeah, I think at the end of it...
Utah's got to make it far. Do it for Arizona.
I have a feeling the Tusks will be down.
No way. They're going to do it for the Yotes. Maybe that is my hill I die. You have Ottawa. I'll just die on Utah's hill.
Okay.
Other one, because I want to save my favorite for last that we talked about a little bit last week. Again, this could be a hypothetical this could be different ones depending on how the last game goes, but at the time of recording, it's the Colorado Avalanche versus the LA Kings. Kopitar, you made it into the postseason. I do think it's Colorado, though, that wins it. I'd love for Colorado to get knocked out of this in the first round because I am a firm believer that the President's Trophy curse is real and the Chicago Blackhawks should still be the last team to have won the President's Trophy and then win the Stanley Cup. I don't think anybody else should do it. And so I'm always going to root for the upset against the President's Trophy, unless it's Winnipeg last year because Winnipeg was the exception.
Yeah, if you're LA, if you're Anaheim, if you're anyone, it would be a victory to take it to 5 games. If you don't get swept, it's a victory. That team is going to be ready, and it is going to be full steam ahead. They're basically healthy, correct? I mean, Landeskog is now there. It just adds that extra oomph. Again, still, Marty Nashis needs to dominate a playoff.
He has been recently.
Not that much in the playoffs.
No, I'm saying recently, like this season.
Oh, yes. Yes, I don't think that's ever been a question of him. But it's been when the game gets more physical and it gets tighter, can you still shine? Almost the same thing with like an Aho, who you know he's very, very good, but when it matters, can you still take over a game? And their power play has looked a little better, Colorado, so if that power play clicks, it's done for everyone.
Yeah, they've got a couple of guys out on day-to-day right now, but I think it's more of a just shutting down
rest,
for the last couple of games
Yeah.
than anything. Um, yeah, I do. I'd love an upset. I'd love an upset because I will always root for the Chaos Demon when it comes to the playoffs. And now that Tomo Rutu is not in postseason hockey, I really don't care what happens. Um, as long as this next matchup can go my way. And Christy, we talked about this last week, but at the time of recording, you've got the Dallas Stars versus the Minnesota Wild. Guys, I need Dallas to win. I need Dallas to win. I need Dallas to win. I need Jason Robertson to play so much playoff hockey. I think they got really, really unlucky last year with some injuries kind of at the tail end of last year. Yeah, was it last year? Edmonton took somebody out and it really hurt them in the beginning of the postseason. And then had issues, injuries at the end of last season going into the postseason, and even in the postseason, they were kind of just like constantly battling. I think Minnesota has gotten better, obviously, with, the addition of Quinn Hughes, but I think it will be Dallas, and I'm riding the wagon that I really want it to be Dallas.
You and me both. Again, Dallas has Heiskanen did get banged up. I don't know if he'll be ready for the beginning. Rope Hintz will not be. So they're back to the same thing. They're not going to be completely healthy. Do they need to be? Not necessarily.
Both of them are listed as day-to-day, so...
Yeah, but I've been told Hintz won't do one and two.
Okay.
So that leads you to believe, geez, maybe 3.
Is that game 1 and 2 or rounds 1 and 2?
Game 1 and 2.
Okay.
Yeah, just games. Again, they're pretty evenly matched. So if I'm going to pick, I take the Otter at the end of the day. It's going to be a fun matchup. We'll see exactly what Quinn Hughes is able to do with this that he's with now. You have to stay.
I do think that they're going to make noise. I don't think this is going to be an easy matchup for Dallas or Minnesota. This is not a game 4. This is not a game 5. If there's any matchup that I can bank goes to 6, potentially 7, I think it's this one.
Yeah, I will definitely agree with you. Dallas's key will be to stay out of the box. Minnesota's bottom 6 are a-holes. They're physical. They're big. They are going to bait you into, what is it called? Retaliatory penalties.
Mm-hmm.
And you cannot do that. You do not want to play 4-on-4 against them, and you don't want to be on the penalty kill. 4-on-4 means you're against Krill and Quinn Hughes. It's a tall ask for anyone. So that's going to be their...
Do they throw Boldy out there too for the 4-on-4? Or is
Yes.
it really just... Okay.
Yes, and I love Boldy, and I don't even mention him because the other two are just so unbelievable.
See, I'm the opposite. My eye's always at Boldy. I barely notice Krill. But maybe it's just because Boldy scares me.
Yes, and he scares me. So, I mean, their top 2 are about even. I might give it a tiny bit to Dallas, not by much. But their bottom 6, it's different. And you can't get into the mucking around with Minnesota. Make their defense play D. I would attack Quinn Hughes at all times. I would hound him in his own end. And again, the one thing I will guarantee is he's going to get hit a lot. I mean, that would be that's priority number one. So.
On the flip side.
Yes, let's
with
flip.
Dallas. Because Dallas does have a couple of people who do like to be some a-holes.
Yes.
You know, of course, we have the Jamie Benn, but we also have Liam Bichel, who I think drummed up quite a bit of noise last season and then going into the postseason with just kind of his theatrical way of being aggravating. But then you also have the new kid, Justin, I'm going to really try to pronounce this, guys. I'm so sorry. Krikoian. That's the guy that went viral post-trade deadline that took his stick and was pointing it at all the Edmonton Oilers people, being like, your team doesn't even want you. They tried to trade you. Nobody wants you. I would expect him to at least attempt to get under people's skin as well in that matchup.
Yes. And I know... Okay, good. I know Bichel was hurt, but he has played late. He's back. And yes, that'll be a huge add for them.
Because he's a huge dude and a thumper and just annoying. In the best way.
Yes, and he can play hockey.
Yeah.
And the best way to put him is he's like the pickle, except he brings some nastiness also. So, either way, it's going to be a great series. It's the one everybody will be talking about, and you'll have to just put on hold the whole, it's a shame that this is a first-round matchup, blah, blah. It happens every year.
There's always one.
Yeah.
There's always one that because of weird seeding, I can also agree, you can also argue that, you know, the Tampa versus Montreal is essentially the East equivalent, maybe not at the same level, but like it's the same thing. And there's always one. The Battle of Florida should not have been a first round matchup. There's always one team that kind of gets screwed because of bad seeding. And it's not even necessarily a number one with a wild card pick. Like Dallas and Minnesota are 2 and 3. Sometimes you just run into the toughest opponent earlier than the conference finals or the cup final.
Correct. And this isn't going away, and this is here to stay. Their hill to die on is definitely, they want to keep brackets going. That's the thing. They want this to be like the NCAA tournament so everybody can go in and do their brackets. Where if you reseed or if you do a 1 through 8 reseed, then the brackets change and then you lose out on all of that other extra gambling and talk. And it's about the talk. So, either way, again, at the end of the day, for me, I just go with Otter. So, and it'll be interesting who Minnesota starts in now.
Wallstead, I'm assuming.
Yeah, which is weird. That's a baby. So, we'll see.
Yeah. We'll see. Jumping away, because I know we spent a good portion of this episode on playoff hockey, but that's okay, because we really didn't have much of other stuff to talk about. But we still, of course, do have a prospect report, guys. Because our boys in the OHL are still going, still performing very well. Everybody is currently in the second round of the OHL playoffs. I believe the final, I think Brantford has 2 more games just because one of their games got postponed this past weekend. But Kitchener and then Windsor just has 1 more to win it because they're up 3-0. So we've got Jack Pridham with 5 assists for the Kitchener Rangers, 2 goals and 1 assist from Eric Vanaker with the Brantford Bulldogs, 1 goal and 1 assist for AJ Spellacy with the Windsor Spitfires. The assist came from a game-winning goal, and then the one goal that he had this past weekend was the game-winning goal. So great weekend for Put a Spell on You this past weekend. Roman Kantarov with 4 points in 8 games for the KHL postseason. And then I believe he is in a kind of Russian under 25 sort of tourney right now. And you're looking at 1 point in 2 games. Jumping to Rockford very quickly, we don't have a ton to talk about. However, Adam Guyon did get his first start with the Rockford IceHogs, which very excited to see because big Adam Guyon fan over here. Unfortunately, it was a loss, but it wasn't one of those games where he looked completely out of his depth. It was just, it's at the end of the year. As our dear head coach said, the boys are tired. So it wasn't all on Guyon from game footage. He did play well, and also I don't think there really was that much of an expectation for him to play lights out because it is a jump from college hockey to the AHL, especially in the same season. Like this kid has played so much hockey this year. I personally really wasn't going in with any expectation with any of the starts that if he were to get any starts for Rockford at the tail end of this year, because he has played an entire college hockey season, basically starting all of the games except for when he was the third string goaltender in the Olympics. Played in the Spengler Cup overseas during like Christmas break at the same time World Juniors is, and now is playing with the Rockford IceHogs. Whatever this kid does at the end of this year is irrelevant because it's just been a lot of hockey, a lot of international travel for him. And also, we got to report we had a savvy goal this weekend.
It's nothing to worry about too much. That's not a very good team.
No.
When your head coach on the big club says, Sean Lafferty playing defense is as good as anything we have in Rockford playing defense, that tells you everything you need to know. So, good for Guyon. I'm pretty disappointed that Rockford is still crap. I understand why they are. We brought up a lot of kids to the big club, and that's just kind of the way it works. We don't have our stockpile yet, but it's coming. That is coming. So, what can you do?
And I think, yes, this was not like how either of us intended this year to go for Rockford, but I think there were many trades and just significant call-ups with injuries or whatever throughout the year where it was kind of like what are you gonna do? And, as you pointed out, if they really cared about the Rockford group, they would bring up a Joey Anderson, a Tonantino, but you even did see veterans getting called up throughout the year. So some of it I understand, some of it I don't. But, it's the end of the season. It's okay. Which leads us to the big club. Oh, yes, Christy, sorry, you got more?
You didn't even ask if I had any prospect stuff. It's rude.
Do you?
You might want to continue to watch Vanaker. Just because there's a good chance his partner is your next Chicago Blackhawk, so you might want to watch that a little bit more.
Please, you are on the Malhotra train?
I'm on the train like a Shane Doan, like a McTavish. The bloodlines in playing hockey the right way, yes, sign me up. So, yes, I am on that train. If we pick, 3 or 4, you have to think about him over the defenseman. So, yes. So, I would tell your people to watch
Caleb
Bradford because it's a team also that our scouting department watches anyways.
That is true. I'm really convinced like the scouting team just like lives out in Brantford. But yeah, guys, Caleb Malhotra. I know there's a lot of buzz fancy buzzwords around Ivan Stenberg and Gavin McKenna.
As where there should be.
Sure, that's an opinion. I'm on the Stenberg train. I'm not on the McKenna train. We've discussed this. I need to see more in harder situations, and I didn't get that this year during college or international competition, where I did see it from other players. But Krusty, very happy that you are on the Caleb Malhotra train.
Yeah, he's a crusty player. I mean, no doubt about it.
He is.
He's what I look for. But again, with McKenna, have to have incredible talent to make it to be a cup contender. And that kid has incredible talent. Will he be just Elias Pettersson, who you're now almost getting to the point where you're thinking, there's some incredible talent, but that's a loser? I don't know. I understand your thought process on, because you're thinking along those lines. And I can't say that you're wrong either. Ideally, if you don't pick first, I don't think you got to worry about it.
Right, which is why we need to drop. We cannot pick first. I do not want to pick first. This is like 2 years ago.
Yes, and I would assume the Florida Panthers will be picking first. That is what's going to happen. And then we can bitch at Kyle even more for Caden making that top 10 protection.
Speaking of that, Krusty, I did want to bring to your attention because
Your attention, Krusty. Yes.
Not to completely beat the dead horse, but we have 8 minutes left, so why not? After the Buffalo game, there were a lot of people that came out on the X, the Y, the Z. Not the biggest fan of KD, and kind of bringing back previous quotes that Seth had said prior to his departure of Chicago, and everyone started to be like, maybe we judged him too harshly. We are at the same.
I think you're going to get that more, because especially starting next year, you're going to look at this team and you're going to go, you know what solidifies just about everything? Would be Seth Jones. He solidifies your back end perfectly. That's a fact. It is what it is. I've always stated that.
I know. I just thought you would enjoy people coming out and being like,
I've heard that a little bit also from my people.
Maybe Kyle's the problem.
I've already stated what I have a problem with is from the top down, you accept losing. You're almost encouraging it. I think that sets up to lose, does it not? I think this thought process of just 1 year, it's all going to click, is a little much. But yeah, I know there's a little bit more out for Kyle, and just my opinion on it is everybody, you got 1 more year of this. So buckle up again next year.
Woo woo.
Yeah.
All right, Krusty. You have anything else for this week?
You don't want to talk about any of the games? Okay, fine.
No.
No, she doesn't want to talk about it. Anything else?
Is there anything you felt you needed to talk about? It wasn't particularly good, and I don't think we need to keep beating the horse of it's not that good when we're basically done.
No, I really enjoyed watching Buffalo play.
Yeah.
I will warn your viewers of what Krusty says every year. The first 15 and the last 15 you don't use for evaluation. These last 15 have been awful, and again, don't use that for evaluation either. The kids are cheating. They're just trying to make a wow play and feel good a tiny bit. I could get on Connor Bedard about the fact that he's constantly going up against and trying to go through 4 people. But when you really look at it from his shoes, why not? I think he'll be taught how to play the complete dump in game and to do what he needs to do when the talent's around him. I think you've already seen that when he plays with Frondell.
Yeah.
They're just trying to make it a little exciting. Don't read too much into that this has gone crap. It's the same way as last year you shouldn't have read into. Oh, that was the other thing I wanted to bring up. Hockey Princess's big Calder Trophy prediction. Who was that?
Listen, I like to go bold.
Say it.
I like to go bold.
Say his name. Yes,
Sam
Sam
Renzel Calder.
And Hockey Princess wasn't the only one. Bringing back to the fact that don't worry about those 15 games. So in the bad way, don't worry about them either.
Is that it?
That's it. We got one more tonight. It should be a fun one. There's not going to be a lot of defense.
And if it's not, it's the last one.
Well, neither team's going to play defense. I think it's going to be entertaining. If you don't care if you win or lose, it'll be entertaining. I want to say, great job all year, Hockey Princess. To you, to other podcasters out there, this is not an easy thing to do when your team is so awful. So to all Chicago Blackhawk podcasters, from Sam to the guys at CHG, to everyone, well done. It's a very tough gig to do this with a team that is struggling so much. So great job, Hockey Princess.
Thank you.
Oh, also I got more stuff. I would like to thank you for the Hockey Fantasy League. A shout out to Hebert's Hounds, who look like they will be the grand champions. We will have one spot open next year. Maybe 3, depending on, how much interest the Hockey Princess gets. In our league, it was a 2-team battle between Shelby's team and Hebert's Hounds. They basically dominated most of the year, and congrats to them.
Yeah. All right, folks. That is all for the regular season, but as we said last week, just because the Blackhawks are done doesn't mean that we aren't. We just shut down to one episode a week, so that'll be Thursdays. If there is anything that you want us to break down, talk more about, bring on a guest that we had throughout the year or from years prior, let us know. The off season is not set in stone for us. Yeah. Also, just as a reminder, make sure to hit that like and subscribe on either Spotify.
Give us a review. Give us a review.
However you watch or listen to us ramble on a weekly basis. That is all, and we will talk to you guys next week.